What is one of the most important systems you must master, then self-manage with red hot jealous? Let's read what Chuck Berry, one of the greatest guitarists, says. Of the 5 most important things in life, health is first, education or knowledge is second, and wealth is third. I forget the other 2. Let's continue to look at this. Be aware of biased medical beliefs that are still in vogue. We've got a number of questions that I want to pose. Why did Euro-gentile colonizers and enslavers deliberately view traditional African medicine as evil? 2. Is modern medicine humane, equitable, and a sustainable healthcare system, even for melanin-dominant humans? 3. Is there a racial scientific bias in orthodox medical healing systems, including programmable instruments? Let us say for humanity, the use of natural healing methods was based on herbs and natural foods, which are supposed to be the foundation of modern medicine. This is no longer the reality because capitalists moved in and removed this natural fundamental. A modern healthcare system is called allopathic medicine. It has many other names that it is given. However, its premise is in the use of opposites to heal the body. But who is the real power behind the takeover or the vanquishing of natural healing methods? Nothing is worth living for if your health is poor. The body becomes what the foods are. So what you eat is what you become. As the spirit becomes what the thoughts are. So it is clear that we must think clearly and have the ability to eat what is naturally synchronous with our genetic as well as blood and totemic makeup. Our health is one of the most important goals in fulfilling our purpose of life on earth. It involves your knowledge and beliefs bordering on and about how you can be healed once you become sick or encounter issues associated with maintaining and managing your health and the remediation of disease. Unfortunately, allopathic medicine, despite all its glitter and wonders, may not be a one-shoe-fits-all system. Here is why. Even some of the writers from the Western world have realized that modern medicine has a lot of things that are against it. Ivan Illich, in his book Medical Nemesis, argued strongly that the medical establishment was bad for people's health. Another writer, Peter Skranabeniki, in the book The Death of Humane Medicine, proves that healthism is a tool of state coercion. We can see what is happening with all the lockdowns and all that we are experiencing. Proof that modern medicine is inherently corrupt was demonstrated by the writer Seamus O'Mahony, who is a consultant, published a book, Can Medicine Be Cured? And he argues that patients, doctors, and society at large are the victims, dupes and slaves of this medical industrial complex. How did this come about? Are we safe? The answer how it came about, we have seen the Rockefellers there, but we want to see whether we are safe or not. There are some facts you must know concerning the healing system if you desire to fulfill your purpose of life on earth, is that you should be in superior health. First, let us give some other critical facts. Do you know that modern medical science, the foundation of modern medical systems and research, has not completely rid itself of the said racist fixation that was based on trying to prove that there are huge physiological differences between black and white people? That melanin dominant humans or black people functioned differently from all other races. Such false medical beliefs are still in vogue today. Some of the most persistent physiological myths include, but not limited to, the idea that black people tolerate pain easily, better than many other people, that black people have weak lungs. These ideas are still there in modern day medical education as well as practice, and supported by other allopathic medical system, which is biased against us or melanin dominant humans. Here is a quotation from one of the books. The website is given in the description below. It says here, where it is in yellow here, the American dark races bear with indifference tortures insupportable to a white man. So that is the mentality that was there in the 17th century during slavery and colonization times. It's still there. Here is a book that proves what I've just uttered. Breathing race into the machine. How race became embedded in a medical instrument. Lundy Brown traces the little known history of the spirometer to review the ways medical instruments have worked to naturalize racial and ethnic differences from Victorian Britain to today. An unsettling account of the pernicious effects of racial thinking that divides people along genetic lines. This book helps us understand how race enters into science and shapes medical research and practice. This is what we are facing, and a lot of people are unaware of that. Do you know that the cesarean system to remove a baby, a living baby from the mother's womb, was invented in Africa, in Uganda? Here is the proof. Ignoring what African doctors discovered, like the C-section that we have given. There was a Dr. J. Marion Sims, who is credited and given the title of father of American gynecology. Sims routinely continued to perform surgeries on black female slaves without anesthesia. Since many slaves had medical techniques tested on them, it is not surprising that American medical practitioners today are prone to ignore the pain of black patients with this cruel background. This is bad. This is sad. This is shocking. This is happening, and this happens in the world that we boast as civilized. Biased medical beliefs that are still in vogue today emerged out of the colonization and enslavement of mentality. These mental states are still alive in modern medicine today. For example, slave and melanin dominant bodies were key to the growth of southern medicine in the United States. Slaves also represented white doctors with opportunities for experimental research. There were significant patterns to medical experiments on enslaved people. The exploitation of enslaved patients for experiment was commonplace. The culture of American slavery facilitated and gave impetus to experiments on slaves. This is your medical system. When you go to hospitals, when you go to the surgery to see the doctor, this is the history where they come from. Not the Imotepian that we have alluded to, which was natural system. This is a capitalist system. Is it possible then that myths about physical racial differences which were used to justify slavery are still the operating paradigm in medicine today? Power, opportunism, racism, human experiments under American slavery. Science Direct. This is the website. You can look and type these words in your search engines and you get this PDF. There is also examples of these experiments, like the Tuskegee syphilis studies, which are very, very shocking. Tuskegee, a study in Alabama, 1932 to 1972, Negro males who were suffering from syphilis were studied to observe the natural progression of the disease. Follow this shocking event, which we should highlight every time whenever we get an opportunity, and memorialize. The subjects were not told that they had syphilis, and consequently they went home and infected wives, which resulted in 19 of their children being born with congenital syphilis. By 1947, penicillin had become the standard treatment for syphilis. However, the treatment was withheld from this cohort. Plenty of papers were published from this study. Eventually, the study was leaked to the press and the program was terminated. Then we know the pretense of politicians that pretended to apologize. That was all a charade, a camera opportunity by Bill Clinton in 1992 when he pretended to apologize for this, because such experiments are still continuing today. That's why we are saying let's shout this from the highest table, especially during these COVID-19 issues and lockdowns. We have to understand these issues and what's going on. Look, systemic racism here, open, clear, with no hiding anywhere. This is Dr. Emmanuel. She was mocked by the media and threatened by the Texas Medical Board for promoting hydroxychloroquine as COVID-19 treatment. At the same time, a Dr. Yish study promoting the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine in COVID-19 patients was published in medical journals. I want you to marinate on this and think on this. Just look at this and read this. I'll give you some few seconds to do that. Even when we are achieving something, the system isolates such individuals, or buys them off, or persecutes them, or ignores them. There is a clear example of systematic racism. It happened last year, a few months ago. Many of us watched this on television and it was later removed by YouTube. Let's think about this seriously as we do our researches and thinking about this issue that is facing us today in this life. What about artificial intelligence and modern technology and the robots in medical systems? Again, it has been proved beyond reasonable doubt that artificial intelligence in modern medicine discriminates blacks. It's programmed to discriminate blacks. Here is the website that you can go. There is a lot of stuff about it. There's a lot of wind and energy about this. This is by Chloe Kent in medical technology. She says, a race to the bottom. How artificial intelligence encodes racial discrimination within medicine. Racism in medicine has consistently led to negative healthcare outcomes for people of color, and racial bias is now littered through the healthcare decision-making algorithms clinicians use to support individual patient care. But what if artificial intelligence could be the key to fixing racial bias in medicine instead of encoding it? This is what we need. So biased medical beliefs that are still in vogue today came out because, and in order to completely control the colonies and the slaves, they had to use a psychological tactic to attack Bantu centers of power and the belief systems. So traditional medicine was deemed as inferior, stigmatized and marginalized. In some extreme cases, it was even banned and the healers jailed or even killed. It was grouped and listed under witchcraft. And this bias is now dominating billions of melanin-dominant humans in terms of their decision on healing and how they can tackle illnesses. Their goal, the system, was to eliminate wise and spiritual leaders so that they could pave the way for Christian missionaries to plant Christian culture and confusing doctrines. Eventually, they introduced hospitals and allopathic medical systems. Such a false medical paradigm is still in vogue today. Even though in Africa it was customary to discern the difference between magic and the disciplines of healing, divination, witchcraft, and sorcery, which were not all placed under the collective umbrella of magic. It is very difficult to define the word magic, as it was perceived differently in every region. But in 1937, esoteric scholar E.K. Bongba said, witchcraft, oracles, and magic among the Azande is responsible for reduction in appreciation of the value of magic as a definite subject of study. Think about that. Think about this, what scholar E.K. Bongba says. Another scholar, Dr. Sebi, on Western medicine, says, according to Western medical research, diseases are a result of the host being infected with a germ, a virus, or a bacteria. In their approach in treating these infestations, inorganic carcinogenic chemicals are employed. Our research immediately uncovers flaws in their premise through basic deductive reasoning. By consistently utilizing the same premise and methods, they have consistently yielded ineffective results. In essence, in the 400-year tradition of the European philosophy of medicine, their approach in treating diseases has yet to produce any cures. That's what Dr. Sebi said. The book Methodology and African Prehistory 1990 provides an insight into the psychological aspects of magic. The word magic might simply be understood as denoting management of forces, which as an activity is not weighed morally and is accordingly a neutral activity from the start of a magical practice, but by the will of the magician is thought to become and to have an outcome which represents either good or bad. Very, very, very powerful. This you can find from this book, General History of African Methodology and African Prehistory, edited by Aiki Zebo, Heinemann, California, UNESCO. So very critical and very important analysis. Just read that statement and think about that statement. It is very, very deep. It is very, very deep. So with this statement, you override all the prejudices arising from Christianity, Judaism, Islam, or some aspects of Bantu traditions. Because magic by practice is a neutral system. However, by the will of the magician, the forces within that magical practice then become either good or bad. So, what are the suggested solutions today as we face this allopathic monster? The first point you must practice is to understand the totemic diet, the food that you eat. You should stop eating processed foods, hybrid grains, and artificial sugars. Don't eat anything that has chemicals and codes that you don't understand. Number 2, you should live an active life. Trance and breathing properly and walking. Moderate, not extreme physical work. Natural environment and lots of sunshine and outside. Number 3, you should join a mastermind tribe. You will prosper if you become involved with a real social group. If you want, you can contact us on email john@marifado.com, and then you can become part and parcel of this mastermind tribe. 4, you must engage in 4-stage sleep system. This is a vital part of excellent health. You must know to do your hookah or hacker. You must switch off all electronic gadgets as well as electricity, computers, or anything that introduces electrical energy where you sleep. There are great health benefits if you adopt such an approach. You must make your room pitch black by installing black curtains or window shutters. Light disturbs all the aspects of this 4-stage sleep system. Do not watch television or movies and then fall asleep, whether using your smartphone or your computer, because your brain will never be able to go through the 4 frequencies that it must go through. It will be locked in the frequency of the movie or the television or the smartphone that you were watching. Do not ignore understanding this. So you need crystals. Put near your computer, where you sleep. You must avoid overeating prior to bed. Do not use any stimulants or sleeping pills. You must make sure that you relax and sleep. These are the solutions. And there are many more other solutions, but these are critical and vital steps that anyone can do. They don't cost even a cent. But you need to understand the mastermind tribe, and also you need to understand the 4-stage sleep system that our ancestors used. There's a lot of stuff there that I have left, like dreaming, envisioning, imagination, counting numbers from 100 to 0. All the stuff I have left it because there is a lot of information that we deal with. Our health is supreme. There is a lot we must rediscover in any medical system that is boosting our wellness or destroying our health. But this we know. There are a lot of false medical beliefs that are still in vogue today. We must begin to live our natural life, and even though it is challenging, together we can add something to each other's journey. This preacher Rabbi Elem Dumizulu. Subscribe to our channel till we meet again. Edupe, Siabonga, Tatenda, Enkos.